Let's all agree, divine feminine, potentially chosen ones, that you would never join a dark cult or a coven or a demonic organization or a secret society. Let's all agree that if all the facts was laid out and presented before you, that you would never in your right mind choose to belong or join a sinister corrupt network that sacrifice innocent souls and attempt to destiny swap and step on other people's toes and steal their inheritances and move them out of wills and estates and trusts that was left to them by their grandparents and their great uncles, etc. Let's all agree, if you were in your right mind, you weren't energetically manipulated, beguiled, or tricked, or someone in your family betrayed you, set you up, a fake friend around you who was jealous or envious of you or did not have your best interests at heart, or a family member that wanted to live vicariously through you and felt like they failed at receiving the big payout or the, handsome, rich husband, or vice versa, that they didn't choose to set you up and push you into a situation that you never belonged in, or crossing paths, or getting into arranged marriages, relationships, business contracts, bad contracts, etc., that you should have never been involved with had it not been for the trust, love, and honor that you had for those around you, yet they didn't have it reciprocal for you. So let's agree that you would never join a corrupt, demonic, dark, corrupt organization, right? So can we agree that in these days and times, it's best and safe to acknowledge that these groups exist, and that beyond just our prayers and well wishes and wanting to see the best in everybody, that these groups play on that and utilize that in order to beguile and trick you, get close to you, and cause you or try to force you to make decisions that you normally would not make had all the information and truth and facts and details been laid out before you. So, with that being the case, those of you who got caught up with these sinister networks and groups and failed to receive communication and failed to receive offers, or was told to ignore offers that you receive from your true divine person or your soul tribe, or an opportunity that came from your spirit team, that you were supposed to take a leap of faith that required sacrifice, discipline, taking a leap of faith. Because when you take a leap of faith, you don't have all the clear picture of facts and evidence. You don't know how it's going to play out. You just know that you trust in your spirit team, you trust in your guides, your angels, you trust in your higher self. You trust in the feelings that you feel, and you don't allow anyone around you or to come along to trick you out of what your heart feels, what you know you feel to be true, what you know to be true within your heart and your higher consciousness. And that's the case for many of you, several of you, potentially chosen divine feminine, who got caught up with those that you trusted around you or were supposed to trust and end up going the wrong way. And it's difficult for you to turn around because these devils do not play fair. They don't. They just don't. They use energetic manipulation, glamour spells, love spells, binding spells, mental fog, mental unrest, restlessness, and then they themselves, as narcissistic sociopaths, clowns, and bullies, change their tone or raise their tone or raise their voice and use emotional and mental manipulation. Bullies, clowns. A bully is a clown because a bully only bully those that they perceive to be weaker than them or that they perceive to have outnumbered. A clown. Only a clown, a coward, and a bully behaves and joins these dark, sinister cults and covens, and think that because, or feel because they have people outnumbered, or they have more resources to misappropriate and abuse, that it's okay to ruin other people's lives. Only a clown, a coward, and a bully thinks it's okay to do these type of things. And so I understand when you potentially chosen divine feminine get caught up, tricked into these groups, or some of you, because of unhealed issue, unhealthy ego, going for the glitz and the glamour, the shiny carrot, and failing to realize that money is not all that it's cracked up to be. It's cool to have resources and nice things. It's cool to have a good time and celebrate within the confines and the means, amongst those that celebrate you as well, right? Truly celebrate you. It's nothing wrong with that, especially amongst Soul Tribe. Soul Tribe do get to celebrate and enjoy each other's company and begin to love on each other, right? But we first have to get past these dark, sinister cults and covens. And those of you who went the wrong way, it's difficult for you to do an about face, turn around and get back on track because, again, these devils don't play fair. They use every tactic, every angle of manipulation, lying, withholding truth, keeping truth and facts from you, and convincing you otherwise by creating and painting a false narrative, falsifying documents, even using video, whatever strategy that these devils utilize. This is what they use to paint an image. I encourage everybody to go back and watch the movie Othello with Lawrence Fishburne, the great Lawrence Fishburne, and see how the people around you, only the people that's closest to you that you allow to weasel their way into your energy and your circumference, are the ones that usually betray you, paint false narratives, whisper in your ear, and get you to do things that you normally wouldn't do had you had the truth and the facts presented to you properly. So we have divine feminine who fell from grace because they got caught up with these groups. They either ignored their intuition, they ignored the warnings, they got caught up with the illusion of wanting a come up. And it's understandable that everybody need financial security, a financial blanket. They want to progress in their career, etc. But to the detriment of your own soul and salvations and your own soul's purpose, that's not the way you want to do things or go. And it would be better if these divine feminine were able to express their truth and openly and honestly admit where they went wrong, what happened, what's going on. But almost never does that happen because they're either afraid, they got caught up in something that they realize after the fact, too late. There may be legal repercussions. Their businesses or their projects might be tied up with a criminal network and organization that threatens to blackmail or take a percentage of what they worked their whole life to build and create, their babies, their projects rather. And so it's difficult for them to come out, which is another soul's purpose, once they see the other side and say, hey, don't make the mistake I made. Don't do what I did. But they almost never come straight up, straight out and warn others, divine feminine. Don't make the mistake I made. Don't join these groups. Don't get tricked. This is how I got trapped. I listened to my mother. I listened to my cousin. I listened to my associate. I listened to my cousin, my friends, etc. They set me up. Two-faced friends, fake friends around me, and they withheld information that would have been useful, that would allow me to make a better choice had they presented all the facts and the details. And even now that I'm communicating this message, they're still trying to hide information. They're still lying and withholding information. They're still wearing a mask. They're still pretending, telling me what I want to hear. They're still pulling on my heartstrings and, talking baby gibberish. They're still, fronting and pretending. I know in my heart that there's information still missing. There's details and facts still missing, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I would have to have the time, but I'm always bombarded with these devils, these groups. They don't play fair. They always have somebody watching you. They always have somebody around you. They always have somebody working on distracting you mentally and emotionally so you can't think straight once you get caught up with these devils. Don't make the mistake. You get trapped with these devils. They always want to use partying, lustful energy. They always want to use substances. They always want to use trips and vacations to get you out of proximity to where you can have a way to, remove yourself and get yourself back into a safe environment. They always want to take you out of the environment. They always want to party to keep you distracted. They always want to convince you to take substances and do things that you're not supposed to be doing. These are the many tactics that they use. And the Earth Angel Rob started a series called The Tactics That They Use in his different videos. What strategies and tactics do they use to create disruptions, distractions, and disturbances? What games do they play in plain sight while they hide like cowards in plain sight, trying to be inconspicuous? Because that's how these dark cults and covens have historically operated, hiding in plain sight. But because they're thirsty and desperate for one's energy and to block ascensions and to keep these divine unions and divine partners from coming together, to stop these ascensions and these unions from happening, they are intentionally scouting and in secret competition and envious and jealous and deranged and mentally unstable, telling all type of elaborate lies, defaming their ex or defaming their so-called brother and sister because they are so envious. They want to wear their skin. They want to be them. They want to mimic and copycat them. They even go as far as stealing their intellectual property and content. They go as far as, taking on their personality. They go as far as making offerings to entities, demonic energies, to extract their sacral chakra energy or send in distorted sex magic or extract their personality. And they start walking around smiling and hugging and conversating when they used to just stay on the wall frowning and hiding in the back. Now they taking on the earth angels personality and characteristics. Yeah, so the thing is, let's all agree that you will never join a dark cult and coven. But once you get in there, now you're convinced you have to cooperate. You have to breadcrumb and love bomb. You have to go along with the plot and the plan, even though in your heart of hearts, you feel like crap. You don't want to participate, but you fell into that pit of snakes. Now you feel like you have to be a snake charmer. When being a snake charmer is not your personality, it's not your job, it's not your characteristics, but you have to be a snake charmer because something is at stake. You feel weirded out around these devils. You understand how far these devils go to try to win at all costs, even though these dumbasses is under judgment. And no matter what they do, no matter what they plot, no matter what they plan, the universe is going to correct itself and show them that they are not the end all be all, and that their wishes to hurt and harm innocent souls is not going to be the tall order at the end of the day. And so even though they was warned, and even though many of you potentially chosen was warned, something caused you to still go the wrong way. Something caused you, either they blocked your messages, either they diverted your emails and your texts, they withheld offers and information from you that a potentially divine partner sent to you, or you did get the messages, but they got in your ear and told you to ignore that stuff. Offers were either blocked. Communication is being blocked. And because you didn't realize it, you didn't realize that you had to find more strategies and more creative ways to communicate. Different avenues, different venues, different angles, find new ways and different angles of communicating, because these devils usually hack your devices, or they usually hack your emails or mirror or clone your phone and devices. So you have to find other strategies and means of ways of communicating. Even you have to know who you're vetting to send a message if it's a friend, because that friend usually sold their soul and is not going to deliver the message either. So you have to find other creative means of communicating if you're trying to get messages across. And if you really feel the way you feel, bypass all of these corrupt law enforcement, corrupt agents, and go straight to the DOJ. Go straight to the, the upper, management that handles these agents that's not doing their job or turning a blind eye. And let them know that this is a whole dark, sinister cult and coven. There's a whole case going on out here that's being ignored. But it would be helpful that those of you who went the wrong way and ignored your intuition, and now that you see that you're in the midst of a sinister, corrupt organization and group of hate and jealous, envious, demonic individuals who just want to compete and steal monies and lands and real estates and farms and trusts and wills and estates that don't belong to them, the least that can be done is to say, don't make the mistake I made. I want to help somebody else not to become a fallen angel. I want to help somebody else not to just look at things from a superficial, materialistic vantage point or point of view. Everybody wants nice things, but you can have nice things listening to your spirit team, being guided by your spirit team. You can have heaven on earth following your heart and your intuition, even if a little bit of work is put into it. You can let somebody else know, yo, if an earth angel or divine person contact you, please know the devil is right behind them. Somebody else is going to try to get to you first, wearing a mask, a smiling liar, or a charming devil to pull you off your course, to tempt you. If you have feelings for an earth angel or a divine person, and then all of a sudden somebody else pop up, that's the devil in disguise. Let's accept that. Let's agree to accept that. In these days and times, if there's a divine person that you got heart for, you got feelings for, or that you're thinking about reaching out to, and somebody else right before you do that pop up, that's the devil in disguise. Now, in some cases, it could be another divine being as a temp, but most of the time now, that's the devil in disguise. Let's agree to accept that there's dark cults and covens, sinister groups and organizations, criminal networks that is into human trafficking at the end of the day, that they are surfacing out of desperation, and that they are stopping at no cost to have their flunkies and minions and cronies stalk and eavesdrop and ear hustle and get into close proximity to you. Excuse me. And so it's necessary for us to pay attention to these clowns that show up right before you make a important decision in your life, right? And it would be helpful if we were able to express this to be able to help somebody else, so another divine being, potentially chosen one, don't make the same mistake that you guys made.